Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Scotty P here with another message from Scotty P Inspo. So today, my message is about separating our current struggle from our identity and realizing that our struggle is not who we are, but it's just one part of us, not the whole entire being. So let me start with something simple. No matter who you are, where you've been, or what you've been through, life is really hard. There's no denying that. It is difficult. And it can sometimes feel like that it takes all the strength and all the energy that we have inside of us just to make it through one day. And after a while of this difficulty and this struggle in our lives, it can become so easy to forget who we are and just identify with the current struggle that we find ourselves enduring. And I don't know about you, but sometimes for me, it could get to the point where it's just easier to introduce myself to people by the current struggle I'm enduring rather than actually saying my name. And this was never our hope. We never grew up saying, yeah, I want to be identified by my struggle. I want to say that I'm depressed. I want to say I have anxiety. I want to say that I'm sadder than anybody in this world. No, we don't want to live our lives that way. That's part of living life, but we don't want to identify as that. But oftentimes we get to a point where that depression, that pain, that anxiety, that loneliness becomes so prominent in our lives that we feel like we have no choice but to identify as it because we don't see any other way for anything else. Now, don't get it twisted. There was a time in your life and in all of our lives where we looked in the mirror and we were happy with what we saw. And we smiled and we had a positive outlook saying, man, I'm happy who I am. I can't wait for this. I can't wait for that. But unfortunately, over time, for many of us, that hope, that innocence, that joy, that peace, it slowly but surely started to get stripped away by different people and different experiences that we've had in our lives. And now this process didn't just happen overnight, absolutely not. But slowly but surely, we started to see all the things that made us so unique and all of our individuality and all of our hope start to, bit by bit, get taken away, depending upon a variety of different circumstances. And it's not always the same thing for everybody, but whatever that struggle is, whatever's caused you that pain, you need to know that it's already valid. And before we can move forward past it, we have to acknowledge it and we have to allow ourselves to feel. Then after that, we can start realizing, okay, what can I do now to keep moving forward here? But before that, we have to acknowledge it. And so I'm here to tell you that, hey, whatever makes you upset, whatever keeps you up at night crying yourself to sleep, it's valid. And you need to know that because you use that as your base, that self-validation. But it can really feel like that all the dreams that we had and all the feelings that we had just got broken and beaten down and kind of disintegrated into a corner of the back corner of our heart, out of reach from any human, but not totally out of reach. So after we've gone through this struggle and we've dealt with all these difficulties in our lives, it really feels like that all we have left is this struggle because we've lost hope. We lost joy, we lost people, we lost relationships, we lost all kinds of things, and all we're left with is this struggle. And it's weird because in a way we kind of like it because we can identify with that struggle because it's ours. It belongs to us. It's got a name on it, man. And isn't that what we all long for? To have something that we can say is ours? So because of this, now that we're identifying with this struggle, we start walking around wearing this struggle as a mask. And we're interacting with people with this mask on. And we're getting mad at them when they don't identify it. And when they say, oh, your pain's not valid. What you went through is not as bad as me, or it's worse than them. No. And that makes us upset. And then we get angry and we get defensive. It's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? This is what I went through. How could you not acknowledge it? And the reason we get so defensive is because we feel like that's the last part of what we have from who we are. Because we feel like we lost everything else. And because of this feeling, it leaves us feeling useless and feeling like our soul has just been shattered and we're a shell of our former selves. And we walk around really insecure to the potential thoughts of what everybody's thinking that walks by us. Because we're wondering, man, if they only knew what I've been through, or man, what if I could tell them about what I've been through? Would they like it? Would they not? I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to go if they say no. And we're in this constant state of tension because we're identifying with that pain and that struggle. However, this is the perfect place to start building again. Because I always like to say that there's no better place to start rebuilding in life than the solid earth of rock bottom. When you've reached that point where you feel like you can't move forward anymore and there is just no joy and no light left in your life. And it's this really desperate, sad place when you reach it, but I think that throughout our lives, all of us do at one point. And it's when we're at that rock bottom that we have a decision to make. And I think the best way to make this decision is to sit ourselves down, look in the mirror and say, okay, I need to learn who I truly am. Not what people told me who I was, not what this struggle said that I was, but who I truly am, and learning to separate that from what I've been through. And once we ask ourselves that question, I'm not gonna sit here and say, yeah, it changes overnight. Absolutely not. It's a process, a lifelong process. But when we start asking that question, we're on the road to recovery. We're on the road to identifying with the good things about ourselves and finding out who we truly are, not what this struggle says that we are. So like I said earlier, what we need to know is that pain and that hardship that you've experienced in your life, let me tell you something, let me save you the trouble. It's already valid. It's already valid because it's happening to you, and that's enough to make it valid, regardless of what other people say. So start with that as our base, and then we can start to move forward from that. Because at the end of the day, I like to think of all of our lives as if it's a brick house. And this brick house represents everything we've been through, and each individual brick represents either a positive experience or a negative experience. And for so many years, we spend so many times just looking at these bricks saying, man, look at all these negative bricks. Look what I've been through. This is not fair. This isn't right. And you have every right to feel that way. But what we have to remember is that if we go to the other wall on the other side of the house, there's so many more bricks there. And they're not only negative. And every single one of those bricks that makes us who we are, every brick has a story to tell. Some good, yes. Some not so good, also yes. But every single one makes us who we are today. And that's a beautiful thing, and that's something worth celebrating. And so this is how we know that yes, we've been through trials, we've been through struggles, we've been through pain. It's all those bricks are in our house. But they're not the only bricks that are there. And sometimes we have to remember that and take a step back and realize that our struggle, those tough bricks, don't define who we are, they're just part of who we are. So I want to thank you all so much for checking me out. Scotty P Inspo here. I'm always going to keep doing these videos, staying in Philly, of course. I really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever it is YouTubers say, do all that stuff. If not, that's fine too. But have a great one. I'll see y'all later.